Recently, my team at Barna Group partnered with Faith Driven to explore the relationship between entrepreneurs and the church. This groundbreaking study uncovered a new reality that many of us might have sensed but couldn't fully quantify. My name is David Kinnaman, and I'm CEO of Barna. It's great to be with you today. Thanks so much for joining us. What this research confirmed is that the world is changing and the role of the traditional hero has shifted. We once looked to explorers and politicians, maybe celebrities to lead us, but today we tend to turn to business leaders and to entrepreneurs. From launching reusable rockets to revolutionizing transportation with self-driving cars and drones, across the full spectrum of the marketplace, entrepreneurs are shaping culture on the largest stages and connecting communities at the most local level as well. But here's the question: how can the church take advantage of this trend in a fruitful and faithful manner? That's what the study really was looking to uncover. So let's dive into some of the findings from the research. Here's one of the findings from the study. People show more trust in business owners than the church. This is actually what got us looking at this study in the first place. We saw a Gallup study showing that, perhaps not surprisingly, small business owners are trusted 9 times more than members of Congress. But what was unexpected is that small business leaders are also trusted twice as likely as faith leaders and sort of churches and religious institutions. That's very consistent with our findings at Barna. The church is losing ground when it comes to trust, but marketplace leaders, especially entrepreneurs, seem to be gaining ground, especially among younger generations. That's not just a set of statistics. It's a reality we really have to understand, and that's why we launched this major study with our partners at Faith Driven. We believe that entrepreneurs are an opportunity of the moment, and church leaders have a chance to get involved. So we wanted to learn more, and we believe this study will be pivotal for you as we're trying to connect entrepreneurs and pastors for greater levels of fruitfulness and faithfulness in the days to come. We've prayed for moments like this before, where the world is actively seeking solutions, and the people making those changes are not distant figures, but everyday Christians in our congregations, those people who are wired to be entrepreneurs. The next finding from our study is this: most Americans believe partnerships between pastors and entrepreneurs can solve the world's greatest problems. That is huge. The world is looking for answers, and what we found in the research is that partnerships between pastors and entrepreneurs could be one of the keys. In fact, here's one of the huge findings from the study: 7 out of 10 Americans believe that partnerships between pastors and entrepreneurs could help to solve some of the world's greatest problems. And that's not just among Christians, but all adults in our society. Think about that for a moment. 7 out of 10 people trust that the world's greatest issues could be solved when pastors and entrepreneurs partner together. Even more interesting is the fact that most Christian entrepreneurs believe this. 9 out of 10 believe that this is possible. Now here's the thing: pastors are the most hesitant of the group. Only about half see the potential in this partnership between entrepreneurs and the church to solve some of the world's greatest problems. So imagine combining the trust of entrepreneurs and the vision that they have for the future with the network and theological vision of pastors. What could happen? The world is watching, and they seem to be ready. Here's the next finding from our research: is that 93% of pastors feel confident in ministering to entrepreneurs. So there is a built-in readiness among pastors to do this. We discovered that the vast majority of pastors say they are confident in ministering to entrepreneurs and encouraging them in their work. This is a good starting place, but it may also show that they aren't fully in tune with some of the ways that entrepreneurs feel stuck or sometimes misunderstood within the church. How could we better bridge the gap and unleash the partnership between pastors and entrepreneurs? Here's what we found in the research. Pastors tell us the things that entrepreneurs could bring would include strategic planning at 37%, innovation at 33%. Those are 2 of the most useful skills that pastors believe entrepreneurs could bring to the church. Pastors identify young professionals ministry, 45%, and job placement ministry as other specific ways that entrepreneurs could be most helpful in serving or providing guidance in the church. Okay, so this leads to the next finding in our research, and that is that 40% of pastors say they believe this moment requires entrepreneurial thinking. We've just covered what it is that pastors thought they could gain from entrepreneurs, but perhaps this is what entrepreneurs could give to their churches. Pastors have always led through changing ministry trends, whether it's a multi-site church or recovery program or small group ministries or something else entirely. The list seems to go on and on and on. But today, the church faces new challenges, and 40% of church leaders say they need entrepreneurial spirit to survive, being effective in tight budgets and staff turnover and declining attendance and changing ministry models. And perhaps entrepreneurs could help to inspire and advise leaders as they're going through some of those changes. It's the revival that many churches have been searching for to stem the tide of people walking out the doors faster than they're coming in. One of the huge challenges that we face. We're living in an era of side hustles, a surging gig economy, and we believe that entrepreneurial thinking could help to strengthen the church's relevance and witness, especially among young generations who are aspiring to be entrepreneurs. Not only will this help us continue to be a place where people gather with friends, but the church will also become an incubator for people who want to explore their God-given call to create. Well, this leads me to the next finding from our study, and that is this. Pastors believe they are responsible for helping people to find purpose and meaning in their work. I think this is huge news. Pastors know their role well, and they believe that it's not just about getting people saved, but also helping them to discover their purpose in life. Ephesians 2:10, people are created to be a masterpiece in Christ Jesus to do good works. And 95% of pastors, you heard that right, 95% of pastors believe that it is their responsibility to guide people in this area. That's great news. So 90% of Christians are aware that their talents are God-given. 95% of Christians believe those talents are meant for the good of others. 97% believe their work is for God's glory. We have so much to celebrate. And I think this speaks to some of the good work that the faith and work conversation has accomplished in recent years. But here's the problem. We're still stuck on how to connect faith with work, how pastors can help equip people for the work of the ministry. Entrepreneurs know this struggle intimately. They often sit in the pews feeling disconnected or discouraged and uninspired sometimes. It's not for lack of passion and purpose. It's not for pastors not trying hard enough. But once entrepreneurs become engaged, they give more. They are better in terms of giving advice on some of these practical matters for other Christians. There's so much more they could offer. And 3/4 of engaged entrepreneurs lead in their communities and churches. So faith-driven entrepreneurs are sharing the love of Jesus from break rooms to board meetings. And I think we have a huge opportunity to take advantage more of that energy in our congregations. But we have to take stock of some of those barriers. So this leads to the next finding from our research, which is that entrepreneurs are often stuck in how to move forward. For the past 2 decades, we've celebrated the idea of integrating faith and work, and we've made such good progress, but a bottleneck has certainly formed, and that is this. Entrepreneurs are still asking, how do we do this? We need to move beyond the how. It's not about finding new programs or activities within church walls. It's about recognizing that the work people are doing already Monday through Friday is where God's work can truly be lived out. Just imagine the ROI of this kind of thinking within your congregation, within your faith community. Instead of relying only on 1 hour every Sunday to reach people who may never step into the church, or they might be there 1.7 times a month, if we're being honest, entrepreneurs have 40 plus hours every week to demonstrate who God is to their teams, their partners, their suppliers, their customers. Not everyone has a pastor, but we all have a boss. We all have to participate in this marketplace. So it's time to stop creating new programs within the church for the sake of programs. My guess is you're already doing more than you had a vision to do when you started ministry. But let's bring together the church and entrepreneurs in a way that supports what people are already doing in their everyday lives. Let's bolster them in their work lives. Let's bolster these entrepreneurs to fulfill their calling within our congregations as well. Okay, so the next finding in our study is this. More pastors are interested in starting a small group for entrepreneurs. 55% of pastors say that is true of them. Small groups have always been a cornerstone of church life, but for many entrepreneurs, the current offerings just don't fit. Entrepreneurs, however, are increasingly disengaged from traditional groups. They don't just need a group, they need people who understand the unique challenges that they face as creators and bosses and leaders and people making payroll and all the rest. The good news is that 55% of pastors, as I just mentioned, are open to starting small groups specifically for entrepreneurs. And by the way, I think it's so important that we have people in our small groups, and we're meeting others from different walks of life. It's a place the church brings people from all walks of life and all stations of life so that we can get to know God's purposes. We're not just special because we're entrepreneurs, but we're special because we're children of God. I believe this idea of small groups for the sake of entrepreneurs is really critical. It's a huge opportunity to foster real, impactful connections and mentorship. Entrepreneurs thrive when they're in spaces where their aspirations and their unique struggles are recognized. Churches can create these spaces, providing a community where entrepreneurs are both understood and supported and mobilized to be on mission with Jesus. And that leads to the last finding of our study, is that 7 out of 10 pastors and entrepreneurs agree that mentorship is key. Both pastors and entrepreneurs agree on this, the power of mentorship. 74% of Christian entrepreneurs say that mentorship was key to their own journey, and 71% of pastors agree that mentorship was critical in who they became and their own vocational journey. The challenge is that entrepreneurs often don't look to their pastor for vocational guidance. Instead of leading with expert advice, pastors can simply serve as connectors, bringing together experienced mentors and entrepreneurs inside a supportive community. So the church doesn't need to lead these efforts, but should convene and connect people. And here's good news. Christian entrepreneurs are eager to engage in faith-driven communities. That's what the research is showing. So by recognizing this need and providing spaces for connection, the church can shape the future of entrepreneurship in a way that aligns with God's purpose. All right, so I've thrown a lot of statistics at you. It's easy to have your eyes glaze over. So to synthesize our findings, I want to say this. No longer are we left to guess where we find ourselves today. We now have empirical evidence showing that Christian leaders and entrepreneurs are at a crossroads. We have an opportunity to partner together in brand new ways to accomplish great things for the kingdom of Jesus in our time. But we can take solace knowing others have been in these places before. The people of Judah also found themselves at a crossroads, and the prophet writes urging people to stand at the crossroads and look, to ask for the ancient paths, ask where the good way is, and walk in it. Like the people of Judah, we must carefully consider our own choices and follow the path that God lays out before us. Just think of the revival and awakening that could follow. Entrepreneurs and pastors can walk this faithful path together. The world is watching, and the opportunity to partner for good has never been greater.